That's good. Big words. I like to hear that. Some hot takes, if you will. Now, of course, we're going to have a map veto here in APAC North Division. We play best of ones, but we do have overtime. We always have a winner and a loser. Cloud9 get that coin flip. They get to ban first, all the way down through it, and we end up on Cafe. I'm going to open the floor to either of you guys. What are you expecting out of this map veto?
I mean, it was a choice between Cafe and Theme. I think CAG made the right choice here. I think they have a little bit more give in their attacks onto Cafe.
I'm checking. I see a 3-7 loss against Giants in Stage 2 Phase 1, but then I also see a 7-2 win against Guts on Cyclops. And if I'm looking at Cloud9, they haven't played it at all this stage, so it's really hard to tell what they're going to be able to bring. But we, of course, all remember that game against the Giants where, well, Giants had to rely on their clutches time and time again to make sure that they would be winning that game. So we know Cloud9 has something there, historically speaking, but, well, it seems like Cyclops has a bit more experience recently with the map.
I think
I noticed that. Oh, you go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt. Do you have things to say? I've heard you were once an analyst, and then you've left us. Is it because you left us because Gio burnt you in the cast? I've heard this too.
Yes, I have been burned so badly that I can never recover. So please, Fluke, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think from this point of view, obviously, we're looking at a map that does play well into attackers. We don't have the huge amount of stats from it, sure, but look at how CAG like to approach themselves on a map. It comes down to guns, comes down to fun, comes down to getting aggro, and there's a lot of potential in those situations. A lot of places for this team to be able to stick themselves into a map, which Theme doesn't offer too much. We've seen great players that are hyper-aggressive, like Soldier from Talon, get a bit caught up in the building and the bodywork of a map like Theme. So the comparison for me there is, where are CAG more likely to have more success on their approach? Probably there, because Cloud9, they're generally successful anywhere they go.
Yeah, well, I think things have changed a lot, haven't they? Coming into this season, no one really had expectations for Cloud9. I'm talking the start of APAC North, because they came from Korea, historically the weakest region. They didn't even win their own Pro League. That was Scars, who took Season 11 of the Pro League in Korea. And Cyclops seemed to be unchallenged in Japan. There was no chance that a team like Fav nor Rengo Guts would be looking to even hold a candle to them. Straight out of the gate, Giants are just objectively the best team, and then they lose the major to Cloud9. The APAC North Division has been such a wild ride, so it's been a pleasure to witness, in particular because this is the first time that we are seeing all of these teams from Japan, Korea, and Southeast Asia playing all together in the same online league, where previously they used to have their own separate pro leagues and they would only meet on LAN every 3 months. Yes, they would scrim. That's quite different to playing in officials. So this is great uncharted territory for all these teams. And as we are coming to nearly the close of this inaugural season of APAC, it's to see that the journey that these teams are taking us on. Cyclops and Cloud9, definitely two of the greats of APAC North, but only one can win this match. No potential for a draw. It sounds like you guys are both favoring Cyclops in this game. Let's have a look at what everyone else was thinking for this. Actually, no, we're going to do the head-to-head. We've done the head-to-head. We're going to do the poll vote for the community when we get into game. So never mind that. But yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say. Cyclops, I think, have their work cut out for them coming up against Cloud9, but vice versa as well. I want to ask for a scoreline prediction. I've kind of heard what you had to say, Hap, 7-4, 7-3, something like that. Fluke, do you have a shot you want to take?
You know, let me just say today, it's a strange day. Strange day for us all. It's an upside-down, topsy-turvy day in the upside-down region. We've got you on our desk, lovely, above. I don't know how I can predict anything, because I would never have predicted a certain man, a myth, a hairy legend returning to the desk. Who knows what this bear may bring? Can the bear tamer control them, as she has done with Dez? I guess time will tell.
I like it. I really like that. Quite an introduction, and I guess with that, we're going to go and hand it over to our casters for today's match. It is Jess and a mysterious hairy maestro who is ready to jump back onto the mic and cast this game. Milosh and Jess, over to you guys. Have a ripper of a game.
Thanks so much, guys. Yes, indeed, we are back. And actually, since I speak of Harry, I'm just going to undo one of the buttons. Why not, right? You know,
let it out.
Yeah, I know it's cold outside, but it's going to puff it all together. Well, Jess, I'm so glad to have you here on the caster desk. We're here. Long live the king, but the king is dead. Dez is out. He's not dead, by the way. He's still alive, thankfully for all of us. But he's not here for the next couple days. We'll see him later on in this week. Don't you worry. But we're going to carry it through. And this game, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things of who can qualify to a major, who gets relegated, but these two teams have performed so immensely well that they're that secure. But there's a lot more on the line. Bragging rights, seeding, all of that matters between two of the best at the top, Cyclops and Cloud9.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up as well, because you're going to wonder, does a team put everything in when they need to probably hide a few things? I don't know. I like the Dokkaebi ban coming out as well, because we've seen a couple of teams really use and abuse that logic bomb that she possesses. So get it off the board. I don't think it comes down to utility or whatnot, because Ace has smokes, for example. There's other things that other operators can take. So I really do think for the most part, it's just because of her DMR, and some players really like to play her and her logic bombs as a total. And then the second ban coming, you did
yes,
it.
Let's
you
go.
did it. You know who they're kneecapping here, Milosh?
Who?
You know the man, the myth, the legend of
Shaw.
C9. Shaw.
There you go.
Good night. What does he play? What does he play now?
You can look, ask Zofia. I mean, look, if we go ahead and take a look at like Sternab and Hap's conversation on Twitter, then Nomad, right? You want to clear more stuff because that's Hap's response. Sternab says, you know what, we can use Ash to break shields. I don't know. This is very cool. This is to put this into perspective. This is like banning Jaeger on the defense. It's that big.
Yeah, this is huge, and the reason that it is huge is because one of the players that we noted before, Charles, just hit Zofia. Like, I've not seen another player really hit her for a long time. I know there's in other regions, there's some big Zofia players, but on C9 and notably in APAC North, Charles is one of those players that always plays Zofia, understands how to use the weapon, understands how to use the utility. And I think it's just driven in the fact that that is the operator they play every single Playday, regardless of the map.
Yeah, and it's such a useful operator to have all the time, right? You have countless positions where Zofia is just great to have around, not just because, quote-unquote, the metagame, but also because it's a great weapon. It's an operator that's very flexible. She is, in my opinion, the new age Buck, right? She's not as good as she was in the past with 6 total utility that you can throw places with 4 stuns, but she can still do so much. And that vertical pressure is so important here, Jess, especially if C9 are setting up on bar first.
Well, I like that Ace hasn't been banned, because I actually really enjoy seeing how teams use and abuse him as a whole, whether it's the smokes, whether it's the Selmas. I don't really care. I just want to see it. But what we're seeing that we haven't seen in a long time is the Capitao. They haven't banned off the Wamai, so it's not going to be as powerful as it possibly could be. And we do see a lot of Wamai bans, especially over in Europe. So I think with MV Taylor and his magnets here, they will be a big part of this and holding off some of those crossbow bolts. Otherwise, you'll lose Pixel too early. And they're not extending another shield, Milosh, into bathroom and doing another bathroom shield hold. They've got a mute jammer there, and, well, Thatch is in play, but it's not being taken. So that might be another one of those cornerstone holds here for C9.
Yeah, definitely something to look into here. Is, of course, it's not a Russian team playing, so of course Capitao is going to be in play. So where's MV Taylor setting up? It's usually around that shield that we saw at the top of there we go. We're gonna see it. There's the pixel spot.
Beautiful.
He can peek this all day, all night. He's got all the magnets that he needs, plus ADSs to protect them in this position. Nova should be running off and doing whatever he wants, but there's already a down and static to get the first kill in Red Hall, and Colorado hunting for players. He's gonna find a bullet in the head. Not a great start here for Cyclops.
That was even worse because it was a tiny vertical above him from Freezer. And you've always got to wonder, especially when you're drawing something out, if you die to a vertical above, you always criticize yourself because you go, I should have looked up. I should have looked up with my drone. The floor is not clear, if the roof is not clear, if the stairs to it are not clear. And in that situation, he got bested.
Outplayed, as some would say. I get her just droning in, realizing that, hey, they're just kind of sitting in those default positions, playing behind reinforced walls. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but it's just Cloud9, by doing what they do, of getting one kill and rotating around, constantly keeping Cyclops on their toes, they are burning time, and we're already at the halfway point, and pretty much nothing has happened. You are just now entering the building, and just at this moment, Black Ray has set up in Cigar. So it's not really much that's happening for Cyclops.
Yeah, what a shame as well, because they've got to get Envy Taylor out of Pixel Swap Milosh. My big problem here, they've got magnets to deal with. They've got ADSs to deal with. I actually don't think that ADS is placed correctly over on Pixel. So if you do a shallow Ash, you might actually be able to dispose of that shield really easily. We'll see if Black Ray reads into that. No Zofia in place, so you could possibly even use a grenade and toss it a little just past the hatch, and it won't get caught by a magnet or the ADS. I want to see what Suzuki does here. I think his job is to flame off Freezer and to smoke off the double door as well for Plant. And there we go. Now Nova's stuck. They can't go anywhere. Plant goes down. This is easy as cake.
Oh my god, Anakin he just passes the smoke. They're not in the right position. Harper has to rotate. Shaw is being pressured from the window, and the diffuser's been set. Cyclops with a perfect blitz, and Envy Taylor too slow on the push as he goes down. Nova with a refrag from Freezer, but it's not enough probably here. Shaw's hard in the ground. Anatune collects some static, and Nova's so low on HP, he can't really turn it into much. All you need is one player on that skylight, and there's one down. Shaw is still on the floor, no way to get him back up, and they're just pinging all around. Like, there's so many angles for you to deal with, and post-plant drone. Suzuki is going to see people rotating in. Harper's going to go the long way, and in 3 seconds, it'll all be over. There it is. The round has been won. Cyclops, our Japanese team, takes it. What a blitz. C9, they might have gotten that entry, but they could not translate it into an actual round win. And I'm just kind of wondering what happened with that stall, Jess.
Oh, we've got to give a really big shout out to Cyclops, because they actually won that land, however many days ago that was, the first land we've had in a very, very long time. And I still question them because it was against Japanese teams. And when you're going up against the big giants of Korea, which is C9, that's a completely different ballpark. You're playing online. Just because you won a land doesn't mean that you're also going to be able to win against other teams. So I did question them. That round showed me that even though they took their time, they lost a player below. I think what went wrong was C9 made the assumption they would push and take piano control, as all teams do. And instead what they did was they used every single inch of that Capitao to its full potential. No one had a warden in place. There was no possibility to look through the smokes. And then they just lost all of their way. When a team doesn't push you conventionally and through the meta, things start to get messy real quickly. And I think C9 is so used to that, Milosh, that all of a sudden they just couldn't adapt to it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just playing in the region as well as APAC. Having multiple mini regions just like we do with nationals in Europe sometimes really helps you, because you get to play against unconventional strategies, right? The metagame is set, but to deviate from it sometimes takes some pretty big cojones, I gotta say, and it definitely worked out in that round. Now there it is, C9 reinforcing, bringing the warden for this one. As, yeah, sure, right, you see smoke, and you're like, I'm just gonna bring warden, he's gonna deal with that. And guess what? You got a Ying on the other side. Cyclops are going with pure oppressive operators here.
I was thinking about the warden, and I just noted it before for last round. They can't see through the smokes. Warden's the only operator that can do that. They should bring it. And now not only do they have Anaton with the smokes in hand, but they've got Gatorada with the Yings, the Candelas. I mean, that is super oppressive, like you said. I don't know how they're going to use it. My understanding will be is that top floor for them was really slow in their taking on first round. You can speed that up by just absolutely lobbing a ton of those Candelas into top floor, because it's a reading site and you really need to start ripping that floor apart by about the halfway mark.
And there it is. Nova's going to rotate back, just burning a minute of time off of the clock. All it takes is for him to stay in the humidor, as I believe Parker calls it. I'm not a cigar person, but that's apparently the word. So he's going to check through in pillars. The long angle for Gatorada to be watching here, and he's got a drone to give him information. At this point, you would love one of your teammates to maybe handle that drone, to give you extra info, but I guess the whole point is to get the information to walk on in and not maybe to... just lock people in this position. You see static, you see Harper. Just, they're there. Leave them there. There's no need for you to deal with them now. There's one Candela going off. And actually, the Ying has lost both of the drones. And Gatorada is slowly walking up. Does he know that there's a Mozzie around the corner. There's actually yet another player, a Harper. Still, he's the one sandwiched here. Static takes a lot of damage from the top floor. There's people upstairs in Cigar, and there it is. It's Black Ray doing work on the Ashe. There's the drop from the Ying. No pushback, though, from Harper whatsoever. There it is. The peek around the corner. And that's the Ying eliminated. Black Ray taking a bit more damage. Things stall out here at the minute mark, but hell of a skirmish to start things off.
I've got to give a lot of respect here to Cyclops Milosh. They've actually decided in both rounds now that they will not push the power positions of Cloud9. Instead, they've decided to open up above mining, and maybe that's going to be for a Fireplace player. You can see Anaton, he still does want that area, and for the most part, he'll probably be able to get rid of that spot now. They've dropped all down, I believe. No one else should be pressuring him, and they will get it. But with 30 seconds left, they've left it quite late to start opening up. I actually thought they'd focus on Fireplace with that initial push. The respect has dwindled a little bit because they have decided with not a lot of time to be able to get that top floor, but things might work out if they can get Charl off White Stairs.
Are they actually going to try to for this? But you have a bit of manpower. The fact that it's 4-4, it's possible, but going downstairs, fighting around stairs is not an easy thing to do at all. But Suzuki is going to open things up with Nova down. No smokes that can be used at this point, which would have been perfect to have. Suzuki gets one more. Black Rays, Shallow right walks right into him, and Harper collected by Suzu, who gets a 3K at least in this round here on the Thatcher. Good play, good positioning, post-plant and information. Cyclops, Hanley taking the second round, and again, off of little time. It seems like they're just shining in these executions.
I don't want to say it's down to a smoke, because you don't want to ever say that an entire round is off one tiny piece of utility that, let's be frank, the defenders can run through, they can throw through. But I really do think C9 don't know how to deal with the smoke. I know it seems ridiculous. This is a high-tier team. They are mini-major winners. They should know how to deal with these smokes. And then I feel like they just don't. The moment the smoke pops and that plant goes down, they'll throw out some smoke babes from Static, for example, and then he just makes the assumption it's hitting. And then Shah was the only one to really identify, hang on, we may not be cancelling the plan here. I need to take top floor. And he's all on his own. And I said, if you get rid of Shah on that power position, that round should be yours. And it was. Finding how CAG can make it work no matter the situation they're under. They did manage to get top floor in the end, but it really took a slog out of their time management. And that shield, I'm not sure who's, it's Medics here with us. Can you zoom in on that shield? I think last time I had Easy in Bakery there. What you will notice is, and if you get a first person of it as well, Medics at some point, is there's a tiny pixel between that shield and the double door bakery. And that it's a really nifty one, Milosh. I love it. I've started to use it in my own games, and I tell you what, people do not expect it.
Is this first of all, the fact that you got a league map multiple times in a Playday is actually huge. But then on top of that, you get to abuse this specific angle. You know what? Thanks Jess? APAC. Honestly, exactly. There you go. You're learning new things here, and hey, if Jess can use them, I mean, I watch your stream. I know anybody can. So.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see how that goes. There it is. Suzuki now pushing up with Gatorada to help him out on that Cavalier, as they would say, or Spanish operator. There it is. Anatun is going to be watching around, and Gatorada just breaking things up. There it is. You get super mad and sad a bit when your drone just does not hit the right angle, because you always have to angle it a bit higher up than just the window. It's pain, very much so.
Big pain. Oh no. I like the fact that they brought the Jackal here, and good night as a result of that Jackal ping coming out. Black Ray doesn't falter for a single second, but MV Taylor finally clapping back. This is the MV Taylor we know. And actually, I think those two impact frags are huge. You've lost the smokes that have been winning CAG rounds. You've lost the hard breach. That's kind of okay, because with bottom floor, no, they've got extra reinforcement in pocket. I take it back, Milosh. Let's go.
Okay, you know what? The reinforcement pool is something that we don't get to talk enough about nowadays, to be completely honest with you. But the reinforcement pools is such a huge change to the game. Very positive, in my opinion, if you ask me. This allows these sort of mid-round rotations to be covered up. And now, what do? You got a Thatcher, but you don't have the actual heart breach that you would love to have in this situation. And you have to walk in. First of all, you might need now to really get a pick from this top floor by breaking through the floor. If you do that, then your potential to break into site in a 3v2 is way higher. But even then, there's so many nooks and corners in this kitchen, man. It's so difficult to go through it.
Milosh, the moment they started reinforcing Freezer, which was the only entryway opened up to the side outside of the doors, I was like, that's it. CAG loses this round. They lost their hard breacher. I don't know why the hard breacher was entering, but you know, each to their own. And now it's just going to come out to gun skill. If CAG win this, it's just because they hit their ones and because C9 didn't.
Yeah, it's all about gun skill in this one. Drone is out to give some information, but it's already a drop. Shaw to rounds the corner here on the Jaeger. Smoke is out, but there it is. Gatarada is ready. 2v2 now, and they're going to break open the window here. And Harper is already watching. He's got some coverage, and the smoke is actually going to be used to his advantage. The Nitro Cell in hand as utility still being used in. That's the smoke. Last one, I believe, for Static. Suzuki is going to round into the flank. Static is going to use his final smoke now to stop the rotation. You're going to have to walk through it. But no, Suzuki somehow wins it. He's got it. Static now in the 2v1. Suzuki's taking a bit of damage. A bit of a long angle here to use to the SMG-11. And Suzu swings the corner wide. What a shot. Cyclops yet again through the fire, well, in this case, the smoke and flames, and they actually make it work. I cannot believe it, Jess.
I called it. If they win this round, it is off nothing special other than winning your ones. Cyclops could do it all. They are clearly an objective-focused team. You can see them methodically always trying to work out how can we get the plant down? How can we work this out to our advantage here? And they're always focusing on it, but they lost a really key part of that focus, that step-by-step. So the team just turned into absolute monsters and said, all right, speed it up, boys. We hit the site. We hit it hard. We hit our ones. And they did against gunners of C9. Charles, who usually pops off on the Jaeger and conversely on the Banzofia, is not having a good matchup here. This is Cafe Milosh. You gotta win your defenses, and they are not.
I mean, look, this is APAC we attack. You know, this is the usual metagame meme that we use. But let's be honest. This is not, like, pretty. This is not the Cloud9 we know. And the problem is, like, Cloud9 are playing to the metagame. They're reacting. But Cyclops are clicking heads, right? They're winning where they're not really supposed to. They're not following the usual steps Cloud9 are, right? Like, the usual steps on this side, for example, that we saw before is for bar, you clear the bottom floor, and then, you know, you make your way with Heart Breach slowly into the site, plant somewhere behind a bar, and then protect it, right? They didn't do that. They just rushed in, blocked people off. So Cyclops are learning very effectively how to deal with Cloud9, and you know what? Champions of Japan, we saw them. They won, what is it, 10 million yuans? It's huge, man. It's almost $100,000. It's big for them to have. Now there's more on the line for him, and Suzuki is bringing in the Amaru, an odd operator choice, I have to say. I don't know how to justify this.
Some teams just like to get up to Scarlet really quickly and see if they can take a pick from people still setting up. It doesn't look like that's Suzuki's plan. My understanding is that when the site is top floor, you can zoom back up to the skylight very quickly and have a power position. So I think that's maybe what they want to do here. Or they can zoom into Heaven, which is a very popular place for Amarus to come moving into, and that's where he's looking to go by the looks of it. I make the assumption that'll be where he enters, and it will be kind of like a coordinated spur attack, Milosh. You were talking about in APAC we attack. I just looked it up, and I was looking at Cloud9 on Cafe, of which there's quite a big sample size here.
Yeah.
They've got a 73% defensive win rate on this map.
Wait, are you pulling my leg here, Jess?
I'm not pulling your leg. I'm telling you, they don't win these defensive rounds. Things look hella bad.
Oh my god. You know what? Maybe it's because they didn't get to play, like attack as much because they were winning their game. So I don't know, man.
Let's have a look.
We're trying
60
to
rounds on defense.
Yeah,
44 on attack.
Trying to justify it here. I know. I'm digging very hard for this one, but Cyclops is just gonna rush on in. There's the Ying combination. They're waiting for the Amaru, and it's the perfect moment to go in. Is there a Watchman? Yes, there is, and it's Shell to hit the shot. But Attitude, in the meantime, gets nuked to smithereens. There it is. Attitude taken away, and Nova is just pushing up with the shield. They got you. Blackberry gets one, and MV Taylor, but it's still a 3v4 advantage for Cloud9. The Ying spraying in, gets the headshot directly onto Harper, but it's now a 2v3. Static ready to poke on out. There's one kill, and then the drop from Gatarada. What do? You still have so much time. The rest didn't really work. You're not really starved for time, and you have a clash staring down at you. Just gonna burn you at some point. Gatarada is just gonna take it like a champ. there's nothing really much that you can do against this. Like, she's going to hold off one of the angles. You have to go for a kill.
Ooh.
It's not going to happen. Shaw stopping the Amaru, that was the big key for this one.
Yeah. That's what I thought they would do, and it was that coordinated attack that I expected out of them, and they did try and focus on the plant there. I think they got a little bit too confident with how those last few rounds, or rather the first 2 rounds of this matchup had gone, where they got the plant off quite easily, and there was really not very well placed plant denial. This time, there was a gift right in front of the planter. You saw that C4 plop right in front of him, and I said to myself, my God, there's nothing you can do at that point. So really well done from C9. I'm surprised it came down to a 2v1 in the end, considering their really good response to that plant.
That was pretty impressive. I have to say, I will commend the Amaru trial. A lot of teams, including the first day that Amaru was added, I remember FaZe Clan trying to use something similar to this. The problem with it is that you really have to time it in the right way. And yeah, if you can really like overwhelm your opponents, maybe with a lion on top of that, just not allow them to hear things correctly, then maybe that will work. But yeah, I think you can clearly hear how the Amaru would be pushing into you in that moment into heaven.
Well,
but there it is.
They did buff her recently, where it used to be when the grapple hook would hit the window, the glass would break before she zoomed up. Now the glass stays intact, and it's not until she actually hits the window, which is oftentimes a little too late to react, that you can deal with it. It was only because Xiao was right behind that sort of half wall to the door there that it gave him an opportunity to hear, turn, react, swing, and then win the gunfight. And it kind of feels like the last 2 rounds have been who wins their ones and who doesn't. And at the moment, well, it's been mostly Cyclops, but that last round, I feel like C9's warmed up to this matchup now.
So from rushing in with a Ying and an Amaru to bringing a Monty here to play things, I think...
Shield be shield.
Honestly... It's unfortunate that there's no clash in this one, but you know what?
Yeah.
Cyclops are just swinging the pendulum from one side to the other. They know that already 3 rounds in the attack, they're sitting pretty. They can try different things here to break Cloud9, and the problem is Cloud9 are forced to adapt constantly. This is exhausting for a team during a round. They have to be on point the entire time during the match. So yeah, why not throw things in? And as you were saying just a bit before, Chess, this is Cloud9. Their defensive side is so much better, statistically speaking. Oh, no. Look, I know you are... What? What are you doing? You're picking the same guy all over again. Cyclops are... What are you doing, man? Can we just...
Oh, no.
Did they watch Chaos versus Vitality last night with James casting and said, you know what? Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Because man, that was not it. Not it.
That is such a shame, because that happens. That happens if... Oh, that shouldn't happen.
No.
But what does happen is that oftentimes you'll have the Monty try and sort of strafe left and right. And if you are the fragger behind them waiting for those pings, sometimes the Monty will just strafe without your knowledge, without communication, and team kills like that happen, even at the highest tiers. So I really don't blame them for that happening. But it's a series of unfortunate events now, Milosh, and I think that's just going to continue.
This is snowballing. This is, what is it? The butterfly effect, some would call it. It's all falling apart, man. And it's, well, you can recover, right? 2v3, 3v3, but a 2v5, at that point, like, Cloud9 have to be learning from their League of Legends team to throw that hard. So I wonder how this one will go. Poking around the corner. You know it's already clear, but still. Cyclops turn around the corner, swinging wide into the stairs. They get dumped on. There it is. Envy Taylor with a kill on a Suzu C. Aegator's on his own. He's going to munch on one, but yeah, you got 1 HP and a dream. And you know what? I'm always about following your dreams, you know, living up to it. Turn your dreams into a reality. But this, quoting NA, this ain't it, Chief.
This ain't it, Chief. I love that. You know, for the most part, he could just pad his stats here and just take a couple of those exit frags. As I think what he's doing now is sitting in Bakery, and what they'll be doing is getting a free timeout, because you don't get that in online games. You don't get to call a timeout. So for now, what Aegator gets to do is go, hey team, what's going wrong? We had a really good first few rounds, and now Cloud9's bringing things back against us. What's the problem here? What are we doing wrong? And that's what I like when teams take that time to be able to do that when you've got the opportunity. You know it's a lose-lose situation, so why not take the silver lining out of it and get yourself a free little moment to talk to the team?
Honestly, look, let's just take it down a notch. It's only one round, right? You tried something different, and it's a Monty. And it seems like Cloud9 are very effective at dealing with you because they get into your head and they push you to, team kill your own Monty. But putting that aside, maybe you just want to go back to the same disruption as before. This is where we're going to see an Ace and Hibana. And there it is. Okay, I would have been kind of surprised to run both. Blackbeard is an operator we've seen in the past, specifically with Cyclops, I believe. It was Oregon. We saw them bring it out a couple times. I believe it was in stage 1, too. So, yeah, I see it. Long angles. You want to take the gunfights. Though, how do you position yourself correctly here on the map? It's always like that with Blackbeard. Positioning is the big question for it. So, I'm interested how this all works, especially that bandit there.
Actually, PMW from Talon popularized that Blackbeard, especially in stage 1 on Cafe, actually. So it is a map where it can work, and it has worked effectively for multiple other teams. I've noticed it most heavily in APAC North compared to other regions. You really don't ever see Blackbeard. Quite slow. The magazine on the automatic is not quite as large as you would like it to be able to take those gunfights for long periods of time. You're constantly reloading. Not the fastest reload time either, Milosh. So for me, I think this Blackbeard pick, if they don't have him repel south and harass over towards Cocktail, or they don't have him repel Cocktail, I don't think they're doing an extended hold over to Piano at the moment. They might be setting it up now. So either his whole job is to harass Pixel, or his job is to harass Cocktail. There's no point having doing anything else, because the shield is the point of that operator.
Yep. Makes a ton of sense. That literally his entire ability revolves around, I can take a couple extra shots more than you can, and only to the head, where most people are going to be aiming at this level. Anyways, there's more drones that have been picked up by the Mozzie, something you don't always get to see. Mozzie picks up 1 drone minimum per round, I think that's kind of the average when you look at things. So not too shabby. Free intel, removing intel away from your opponents. No Thatcher in this one, so breaching into the side here into Cigar is going to be a bit more difficult. But, hey, maybe you want to do it some other way. It would have been great to have the Thatcher here instead of the Blackbeard, which is kind of the usual premise. But I kind of wonder how to take this, because otherwise you just have to take the gunfights, just like you were talking about here with just picking Pixel all the time.
I mean, it's hard to say how they're going to do this. Do they want Cocktail control? They don't necessarily need it. We've seen them do this before and make the mistake of taking way too long. They shouldn't feel confident about how they won that round as well, because it came down to gunfights in the last 15 seconds. So for me, given how all of the attackers are placed, I kind of feel like it's going to be a mining fireplace take. That's a free kill onto Harper there. Harper's not had a very good match at all, and I worry for him, Milosh, because both him, Nova, and Envy Taylor are the big hitters for their team usually. Charles as well, of course, but he's having a good game, but the others are not. So for C9 now, this worries me because they haven't been picking up.
Oh, good shot from Gutterata on a Static and Black Ray, one more on a Shaw. And yeah, this is going to end up 4-2 for the attackers, unless something major happens. Wonder if there's any more. No, there is no more nitro cells, nothing to work with. You're bringing up shields. We're going to any sort of utility possible for you. Nova already expended his utility. And yeah, I kind of wonder the Bandit, because you only used, what, 1 of his batteries? I'm not sure if there was a second one used up somewhere. But yeah, a bit of a problem there. Not utilizing people completely, but there's Nova. He's got an MP7, he can do some work. Black Ray's already down. They're watching for any rotations, protecting his back. No. Is it fast enough? Oh, he doesn't! But he gets shot from the top. Gator. Oh, Nova got baited so perfectly into the position. Envy Taylor's going to rotate to the top floor here. And, you know, it would have been great to have a teammate, but if he can just snipe out the diffuser carrier here. There's 1 kill. Does he know there's a second? Oh, yes, he does. But Anatune is going to take the shot and win it out. The power of Blackbeard shown to you perfectly there. Good communication from the team, immediately swinging around. And Cyclops will save it and turn it into a 4-2 victory on the attack on Cafe. Man.
Wow. I want to say that I'm impressed, but we've seen this happen in APAC multiple times before. Like you said before, you can't always rely on the fact that the map or the team historically is defender-sided. You just got to turn around and say, how are these two going up head-to-head on the day? What's their form looking like? For CAG, they just walked away with a lot of momentum from winning those finals in Japan, on a LAN. They picked up a huge, very beautiful trophy. So go check that out if you haven't already. It was absolutely amazing. So that kind of flow and momentum is absolutely driving them here. I can see that they're very objective based on their attack. I can only imagine just having a look at their defensive lineup here. 2 C4s, smoke waves in hand, a couple of shield and some barbed wire, that they'll be doing the same here to make sure that those mirrors help get as much intel and get that plant denial as well. So I think they know how they want to play. They can't always execute it, but against a formidable opponent like C9, they're doing not too shabby.
Yeah, well, you know, I want to see those like pocket strats that people keep pulling out, right? Cyclops pulled out quite a few in their first attacking half. Cloud9, they're bringing the Yana for this one. You got Ace as well, you know, the quote-unquote Ace in the hole. You can just open things up. But this style that Cyclops is showing us, where they're opening up the entirety of the walls, this is something that we used to see way back in the day. And I want to take you back to like SI 2018, right? I want to take you back to the old NA Rogue, where they played this against the olden EG team. This was even played in year 1 as a strategy on the map, even when Mira was not yet in the game, something that even Kix used to play back in his olden day in NA Pro League. So this is kind of the style that we have, but as you mentioned before, when people pull out these pocket strats, they can really confuse their opponents to the point where it just wastes so much time just by the virtue of it existing.
I believe they are trying to play a C4 below in the hands of Gutterata. And if they don't drone him, that could be a huge detriment to them being able to get the player down. But I actually think for the most part, what I've seen from C9 is they've been winning a lot by elimination recently as well. So it's an interesting one that you can tell that their steps are aimed towards objective, but they end up winning out of elimination. I don't know if it's because they're drawing out the defenders of all different teams more often than not, or if their defenders, or their opponents rather, are just more likely to challenge the plant when they go for it. I like that they're expending all of this utility, and they do have a Thatcher in hand. It's not banned, which is not often what we see. And now that shield should be dispatched of. The grenade will be used, but they've still got a mirror in bathroom. And you know where we saw this mirror?
Where?
EUL, which team? Chaos? I don't know which team did this, but whichever team did this, it was really well. Actually, it was G2 because they didn't bring any wall denial, and I laughed about it. That's right. So for me, that mirror is a really good one, and it's a super power position, and they can still use it now to see default plant.
Yeah, this is why you can forfeit this position, despite the fact that Gutterata had to use his Nitro Cell and didn't even actually stop the Selma in that position from the Ace. He can still know who's moving around. The entire premise of this setup is to have as much of a wide view as possible, and this is why to cross you have to use smokes. This is also a reason why you were bringing Ace now. You can't use that smoke to actually execute on the site. Malusi is just stopping everybody from moving around. Strong operator to have, and it takes a lot of damage down onto static. Shaw is down half HP himself. Great positioning from Gutterata, and as I say that, actually not super worth it. Shaw's gonna get dome, or it's gonna get the dome here on Gutterata, and you get her with one more dome onto Shaw, and Nova sneaking up for a plant, but no, he gets shut down. Aegator and Anatol will get one, and on the swing in, Envy Taylor will find 2 kills. He still has a lot of HP to use. Finally shot down by Aegator, and Harper running the very, very odd hollow is not gonna make this one happen. Aegator, Signet Freezer finds the last kill. There's Black Ray in support. SMG out. Not much use of our Dutch operator, I gotta say.
My big disappointment in that round particularly there was that they did not take use of the fact that when you're going up against the mirror, you have 2 choices. And with the Thatcher in hand, the obvious one seems to be able to get rid of any of that denial, whether it's ADSs, mutes, etc., and pop your Habana pellets on there and get rid of it. In some way, shape, or form, get rid of it. No one really brings a Twitch anymore. We've seen a couple of iterations of that, but it's not the most popular. And if you're not going to do that, the second thing every team knows how to do is go below, open up a little bit of a vertical, pop the mirror, and then you be on your way.
Exactly.
I did not see one instance of them droning below. We even had a C4 playing below, and not one moment did I see the attackers try and deal with that, try and use that to their advantage. They had an Ash in tow. Even without an Ash, maybe even a grenade under the default mirror, a slight ping from Cigar would have given them an indication as to exactly where to grenade, but nothing. So I think for C9, they're just trying to hope that people pick them and they win, but they're just getting completely outplayed here. Both teams are undefeated for this phase, and I think Cloud9 might walk away defeated here today.
It'll be a sad moment, I have to say, but something to add on top for Cyclops, right? For people that did not watch over the weekend, we had the Japan League Finals. It was a great show. Finally, we had the first LAN event since SI in 2020. Huge, beautiful, beautiful stage we saw on screen. Even Gio tweeted about it the night before. It was very beautiful to see. We had some very odd entertainment that was actually very cool to see. But Cyclops ended up victorious, and I talked about it before. They ended up winning basically 10 million yen, which is close to $100,000. Not too shabby. More for them to add onto their pedigree. But here, it's Cloud9 to start things off in round number 8, and that's static for one Black Ray, though. Immediately firing back onto Harper. You lose the Yana to the smoke. It's kind of an equal trade if you look at it, at least from my humble perspective.
Well, you lost Gator as well. And if you ask me, that's both the plan denial, because Gator would have had a C4, Suzu C had his smoke babes. That's 2 of them down. I wonder, do we have double C4? No, okay, so Gallarado would be the one to hold on to the last C4. Black Ray has impacts instead. I make the assumption that was for either rotates and or to be able to impact trick walls, which is very popular now. It makes Melusi so very viable. She's got a plant denial utility, but she also has the opportunity to have impacts, of which impact tricking is being very popularized over this past season or 2. So I like it. I'm glad to see it. What I'm worried here for Cyclops is they bit off a bit more than they could chew here by trying to challenge early.
Oh no, he went for the reinforcement and Shaw just waiting for the moment for it. Oh my, C9 did it themselves when they were reinforcing, and they had an idea of how this is all gonna work out. Yeah, unfortunate there with the hammer, but it's still a 4v2, and I wonder where the Cap can actually set up his traps. Might be something that could help out on the ingress, but for Capcom to really shine, you need to pull more time out of the attackers. And right now, it doesn't look like it. Maybe you can get the kill. The Nitro Cell sails, and oh man, only a bit of damage done to Nova. Not enough to take him out, and you're going to be sandwiched here in between your opponents. 2 players have to push Nova, and he's just lying down on the floor. How do you even deal with this man? You have to swing wide, and you lose the gunfight. Static is in, and Static gets another one on a Black Ray. Cyclops tried to change things up, but they just fell right into Cloud9's trap.
I think what Cloud9 did there, and smartly enough, was they slowed things down. They went, hang on, what are the power angles? What are the rotate cutting angles? Can we hold them? Where are they? Garage is one of them. Over towards VIP double window is also another one of them. And then I did kind of get a little bit of the hint that they did want to get above. They had that sledge ready to go, but they were already getting frags over towards site that the plan kind of changed, which rightfully so. And there's no need to overextend when you've actually already got the picks that you need over towards site. Then you can kind of change it up and focus solely on site. They tried to reinforce up the wall. That was a good strategy, I will be honest. But there was already a player standing almost silently for 30 plus seconds outside a garage. No defender could have known that. You would have had to, I don't know, have a cam outside or have heard them, previous seconds before, and they were just simply as still as statues. So that wasn't really their fault there either. And a good round there from C9. Maybe the comeback is in play here, Milosh.
Maybe so. I mean, you talked about it. What was the number? 73% win rate on defense usually on this map, right? It was 76?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, they don't have a bad attacking win rate either, but that's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big difference. The whole premise is, you start off on your defensive side, which usually gives you that big advantage. and you lose it 4-2, and now you're swinging one on the attack and actually making it happen. I don't want to call it too early. Still one round to the one of C9 as well. So who knows? Maybe Cyclops can adapt a bit better for this one. They're going to bring in those usual Wamai for this one. And you got what? Jaeger, Wamai, they can stand up top. You got Melusi as well to delay your opponents. You can do a lot of work on this. Just playing in the midi bar, time is going to be of the essence for Cloud9. Can't really waste much of it. I wonder if they're going to pressure from multiple angles like we saw Cyclops trying before.
I do hope they get the vertical this time and they get it properly. Sometimes you'll see Cyclops, for example, in their attack, they half committed to where they wanted to push and things didn't really work out, but they still made something off of it. I don't think C9 are the same kind of team that even if they lose out on a power position or an area of their attack that they need, that they're able to collect that time and really just flurry in and make something work. We saw in stage 1 they could do that, but recently not so much. Thatchering a wall that didn't need that? Okay, they're getting the shield, that's why. There we go, alright. So there's an ADS there they need to be able to disable. And that means Anaton's shield is gone, but Anaton, I don't think cares. I think he wants that position regardless of what utility he has around him. And Piano needs to be his playground, but I think he's by himself, Milosh, so this is a bad situation.
Yeah, now A-Getter's taking a bit more damage. I'm wondering if he's playing in the back. Oh, there it is. Envy Taylor shot down an A-Getter in pixel spot in support. He tanks the damage and then hits Envy Taylor. No grenades for you to use now from that sledge. Harper's just scouting about. Gonna walk on in as a mute jammer, just disrupting that image that he'll get. He's got to walk in back to Yana. Still has grenades that can be used. Thatcher is going to use up one of his EMPs. Is there anybody in train? There should be somebody right around the corner in train, actually. And no, it's actually Nova. There it is.
Oh.
Going to open things up with his base plant. Oh. Okay, the helmets are working. You can actually go for this, but you have to pressure choose a C for it. I don't see anybody in oh yet. There it is. Shaw is in a good position. You'd love to have any sort of utility to deal with the Melusi gadgets everywhere. Oh no! A-Gator!
Wow. That's what they needed. If Nova can get this, they've actually decided to just completely change their plan. Now, it looked like they were going for train and over towards fireplace, and now they've decided, nope, we're going to go straight over to reading, but they don't have the vertical, Milosh. This is bad.
Oh, they're being slowed down so much. The Nitro right in the face. Anaton and Black Ray are going to collect a kill each instead of see one more. There's one player down, and there's one kill from from Shaw, excuse me, but Gatarada swings wide, and as the casters would usually say, a flurry of kills has just happened in front of our eyes. And yeah, there it is. Still around 10, we head into it, and it's match point Cyclops making it work.
I cannot believe this scoreline that we're seeing. I was sitting in my predictions before the game, and I said to myself, I don't think the momentum they've gained from winning that LAN final will be enough to overtake the Giants of Korea in C9. I think in online, against a different region, they're going to be up against a mountain. And here we have a 6-3 scoreline. When Hap said 7-3, 7-4, and I'm sick of him being right about things, a little part of me felt like he might be right, but it would mean Cyclops need to play perfectly here. I don't think they have played perfectly, to be really honest with you. I actually think C9's made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. And I think Cyclops has been able to manipulate all of those mistakes C9 are making and get round wins off of it. I know some of them come down to last minute sort of executes for them on their first half, but that's the mistake of C9 for not playing safer. It's things like that they're just able to win off of. I don't know, Milosh. This is not what I expected for this first matchup here.
No, I don't think so either. I did not expect, to be completely honest with you. It's Cloud9, a lot more should have been in play. The potential here is still to go to overtime, right? As James was explaining when we started the show and when we're on the map ban segment, that, yeah, unlike in Europe, here you can go to overtime. It's a big climb, but you can still do it if you've got what it takes. Cloud9, and they just have to face off against the Cyclops that today is just on fire, adapting all the time. I wonder if, you know, Cyclops playing on land and everything really pushed them a bit forward. Look at that from Envy Taylor, straight through the barricade, and it's Gator. Shot down. Why do you need grenades and all of that to deal with a guy on Pixel? Just shoot him in the head, Jess. Come on. You coaches just complicate everything.
You know what? If I'm the coach of Cyclops right now, I am screaming because we lost our Wamai. We lost our Wamai, and I say to myself, are you kidding me? That was our Pixel hold. That was our magnet player. That was everything we needed to be able to hold off Piano for as long as possible. Because let's be honest, we're on match point. Cloud9 have been struggling getting into site, getting those power positions and time management. Why not just use Pixel to our full advantage? My problem now is that Anaton is playing the super aggressive, you know, sort of play style throughout Piano. It's worked for him before, but he had Gator with him there last time. This time he doesn't.
So, Anaton pulling back, playing on the top of White Stairs. Gatorada is going to still... Actually, this has been a distinct lack of Maestro. We've seen Maestro a couple times here in this game so far, but it's mostly been the Mira show. Malusi doing a lot of work just slowing people down. It's kind of an oddity, right? You're always used to seeing the Maestro sitting in these positions, but hey, Smoke at least is still alive for this one. He's playing inside a freezer. You have a long angle that you can use to throw your canisters, and a lot of pressure coming in from the windows. Cloud9, and they're tightening closer on their grip, forcing Cyclops into tighter positions, but look at that. Envy Taylor crossed the map, gets domed in another one from Suzu C running the Vector. What a terrible way to start things off.
The trouble is, you can open that mirror, but Suzu C can now shoot through it. Just because you open it doesn't mean it can't still be used, and it's just used for a different purpose this time.
Look, I need to get those points, all right? That's not how it works.
Right. You love those points. It puts you higher up in the leaderboard. It doesn't really mean much in the end. But now, less than 30 seconds left, Milosh. This is it. Cloud9 need this round. They need to plant. They need something. Otherwise, this game is all over. Red Rover, have they got what it takes?
Have they got what it takes? Well, Suzuki's going to slap one more. And Anaton sitting on the floor. It's going to work out for him. Siege 101 there as Anaton gets another one. Swinging wide, using those angles that have been so opened up in the walls to their advantage. Very well done here by Cyclops, using and abusing every situation possible. That is it, a victory for our Japanese team and our Japanese champions. Today, a 7-3 against one of the top teams in Korea, currently #1 team in Korea, and the winners of our major. Man, what a big fight today.
Just looking at that leaderboard at the end actually really gives me the answer that I was sort of speculating throughout that entire matchup. It felt like all of Cyclops was there to play, and it felt like only a few players of C9 were really hitting their shots, being able to use their utility effectively, and just really adapting on the fly, whereas Cyclops, every single player was hitting that to a T, and I think that's why they walked away so dominantly over that, you know, as you said, the champions of Korea, C9. We didn't expect that scoreline. Some may have predicted, of course, but I didn't at least predict it.
Yeah, I mean, we say champions of Korea being the fact that they are top in their group currently. Last time it wasn't them that ended up winning, but this is the old C9, old iteration, and the olden ways of them playing. Cyclops now in Stage 2, Phase 2, continue with their win streak. They beat Guts 7-2, they beat Fnatic 7-2, they beat Giants 7-3, and today a 7-3 victory against their opponents of Cloud9. Huge day for them, and they're already better than what they were at in Phase 1, where they had, you know, those 3 wins and 2 losses against Fnatic and Giants. I'm very surprised and very happy for them because, you know, this is the Cyclops we expected in the summer, and here they are.
Well, they are here indeed, but you know who else is here? I can hear them a little bit in the background. I think we've got our analyst. Let's toss it over and we'll see you guys very shortly.
All yours.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Maestro. We are back.